There has been a lot of debate and discussion over Uniform Civil Code. Today, we have along with us Kerala Governor Arif Mohammad Khan to speak on this issue and much more. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you very much.
There has been a lot of debate and opposition ever since the Prime Minister spoke about the Uniform Civil Code. What is your view on UCC?
My view is the view of the Constitution of India. In the chapter 4 that deals with the directive principles, and wherein it has been made absolutely clear that while making laws, these principles which are part of this chapter and known as directive principles of state policy, they shall not be enforceable by the courts. But the words are very important. But the principles therein laid down are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. Anybody, not just the various holders of the constitutional positions, elected representatives, even the bureaucracy, or any elected representative right from parliament to panchayat member, or even those who aspire to be members, at the time before the election, when they file nomination paper, they take an oath that they shall uphold the Constitution. After taking this oath, in principle, one can differ on the details of the provisions. But as far as the principle of having a uniform civil code through one code throughout the territory of India is concerned, how anybody can oppose it? If you are opposing it, you are showing no confidence in the Constitution of India.
Now, what opposition parties are claiming is that BJP is trying to use this as a political card to create communal division in the country and thereby garner votes in the next Lok Sabha elections.
Well, I will give you just one example. Who is playing the political game? At least till 90, the left parties in this country were advocating enactment of uniform civil code. In 1986, when I resigned on the issue of Shah Bano, the most vocal voice in my support was of Mr. late EMS Nambudripad. And you can refer to his speeches. The other vocal voice was that of BJP leaders. Now, a party which stood for not only stood against the reversal of the judgment, Honorable Supreme Court judgment in the Shah Bano case, but ferociously advocated implementation of Article 44, which means uniform civil code, suddenly has changed their position. And now they are criticizing the move in various terms. So who is taking a political position? If ideologically, if the position which they had taken at the time of Shah Bano, even till 1990, they were for uniform civil code. And today they are singing a different song, then who is playing politics? I ask you. And I leave it to your readers to decide, your viewers to decide, that who is taking a political angle and who is doing it for extra constitutional purposes.
So do you think that the left and the Congress is now not supporting this UCC or against it, mainly because they think that a certain community, especially the Muslims, will be upset with them and move away from them as a vote bank? Do you think the time is now to stop this vote bank politics?
Instead of discussing the individual parties, I have not. I have merely said left parties. I have not named any particular party. But I ask you, you know, in law, in constitution, the words carry a great meaning. What the Article 37 says, it says that these provisions shall not be enforceable by any court, but the principles therein laid down are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. Then Article 44 of the same chapter says, the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Now, we might face difficulties. We might take some time to mobilize public opinion and explain to the people who are opposed to the enactment of the Uniform Civil Code. We may take time because it is implied therein that we will have to create conducive conditions. In order to create conducive conditions, maybe if somebody argues that more time is needed, more preparations need to be made, one can understand. But the Constitution does not allow you to go backward. In 1986, a government which had the backing of more than 400 Lok Sabha members, remember the provision under which Shah Bano had got relief was not part of the civil law. It was part of the criminal law, CRPC. Criminal law is one in this country. Criminal Procedure Code is one in this country. Public law is one. Only personal laws were allowed to continue till the time we create conducive conditions for the implementation of Uniform Civil Code. What happened in 1986? We moved exactly in the opposite direction, and by amending a provision of the CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, we tried to create a different provision. The government tried to create a different provision for one particular community. So you are not only going against the oath to uphold the Constitution of India, you are trying to create separate provisions under the criminal law for separate communities. That legacy is there. Unless they decide to rectify the wrong which they had committed in 1986, I think today if somebody with that kind of legacy tries to oppose the Uniform Civil Code, then it is, if they can go to the extent of having different provisions in the criminal law, and they have never regretted for it, except few individual senior leaders. As a party, they have never expressed any regrets over it, never said sorry to the nation. So if they want to persist with ignore the provisions of the Constitution, then good luck to them. What more can I say?
Governor, do you think that the ordinary Muslims across the country are against Uniform Civil Code, as is being said by some political parties?
I will tell you. First, I will tell you what very leading Muslim scholars have said about this personal law, which has been very erroneously portrayed as Shariat, as a religious law. You have here in Kerala Jamaat Islami. Jamaat Islami was founded by whom? Abul Ala Maududi. He has written, the law known as Muhammadan law, Muslim personal law, both in its format and spirit, is very different from Islamic Sharia, that is Islamic law. And its application does not deserve to be described as enforcement of Islamic laws. Further, he says, this sorry state of affairs has immensely damaged the civil life of Muslims. And the most serious harm is that on account of this personal law, at least 75%, he's saying 75% of Muslim households, which means Muslim families, have become veritable hell. It is because of this law that these 75% Muslim families have become veritable hell. This law has made the lives of the overwhelming numbers absolutely bitter. Rather, it has ruined them. This is not my opinion. I have not written this. Abul Ala Maududi has written it. And further he says, to regulate family affairs, Islam has given a proper comprehensive code to the Muslims, which can be described as best among various family laws, but unfortunately it became victim of Mohammedan law, the personal law as it is enforced in India, and was defaced so badly that today it bears a remote familiarity to the original. The law that is applicable today in the name of Islamic law to regulate family matters is neither good nor comprehensive nor complete. Can there be a greater damnation of the personal law than what Abul Ala Maududi has said? And then let me also tell you that in India, the judicial system, some parts in South India like Kerala were exempted from it because the Delhi rule did not extend up to these areas. In Delhi, Sultanate started taking roots in 1206, and Muslim system of administration of justice came into existence. But when in early 13th century, now this law, which is called Muslim personal law, when it was enacted? In 1937, which means 20th century. Right from early 13th century to early 20th century, how many centuries? 7 centuries. During this period, large number of Muslim communities had not adopted Islamic laws in matters of succession and inheritance till the beginning of the 20th century when this law was enacted. So when the Muslim kings were ruling Delhi, then Muslim law was not applicable. It is the Britishers who were really concerned that the religious laws must be upheld. Why? Because right from beginning they wanted to create, they asserted that India is not a nation. It is a conglomeration of communities. Now, in order to enhance the community consciousness, they used language, they used caste, they used region, and most importantly, they used religion. In Kerala itself, the what you call Mapilas, The Mapilas, they subscribed to Shafi'i school, and matrimonial affairs followed the Shafi'i sect. But in respect of intestate and testamentary succession, they followed local customary law known as Maru Makkatayam. Till when? Till 1937, 39. Are they less Muslims? Were they less Muslim when they were not following the 1937 Act, which I have already told you, the opinion of Abul Ala Maududi, and not just Abul Ala Maududi. So many others have said that this law has resulted in ruination of the family, large number of families, Muslim families. So the Kerala Muslims were following Maru Makkatayam. The law is based on matrilineal principle, as descent is traced through female line, as opposed to the Islamic law that is patriarchal. To replace the customary law and enforce Islamic law on the community, the Madras legislature, before 37, Madras legislature passed a law known as Mapila Succession Act in 1918. Who did it? The Britishers. In 1918, Kerala, where the Muslims of Kerala were following the customary law, the name I have given you, Maru Makkatayam, they wanted to create a consciousness among them.
So
you are different from others. Yes, you are.
Yeah. So right now you think the ordinary Muslims are really against this, or that is being portrayed? I mean, right now, what do you think?
Actually, most of the people, they do not, even educated people are not aware of this background. That even in 1937, when this law was passed, and succession and inheritance, the law required, here, please remind me if I forget, I will speak about right to religion also. When this law was enacted, you know what was the position of Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah? All the royal houses, Muslim royal houses of India, when I say royal, actually not royal, feudal houses of India, Muslim feudal houses of India, they were against this 1937 law. Why they were against? Because many of them did not have children, and they wanted to adopt a person of their choice. Whereas Muslim law does not have a provision for adoption. If you look at the Constituent Assembly, at the 1937 debate when this law was being passed, Jinnah advocated their voice. He was against it. And there is another point. The point is that admittedly among the Muslims, there are 6 schools of jurisprudence. For instance, even in the case of Shahbanu, who was subjected to triple divorce, the Ahle Hadith do not consider triple divorce as legal. The Jafri school of jurisprudence does not accept triple divorce as legal. But the majority of the Muslims in India, they belong to Hanfi sect, Hanfi school. In Hanfi school, triple divorce is odious but legally permissible. On that basis, they were able to mobilize public opinion, force the government to enact a law to reverse the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now my question is that what about those who do not consider triple divorce when in 1986 the government took the responsibility to enforce a law which is accepted and sanctioned under Hanfi school. The government is taking responsibility to enforce a law which is not accepted by at least two sections among the Muslims themselves. So you are, in order to uphold the right of freedom of religion of one section of the population, it may be a dominant section. But does government have the right even to deny freedom of religion to one person? Here, two schools of jurisprudence admittedly do not consider triple divorce as a legal thing. So they were ignored. Again, it is important, and I should let you know, that freedom of religion has not been, under the Constitution of India, freedom of religion has not been guaranteed to the communities. Words are very clear. Subject to public order, morality and health, and to other provisions of this part, all persons, not even citizens. You are visiting India. You are not a citizen of India. You are entitled to freedom of religion. Now, if you are in India, say for a year or two, or 6 months, will you ask the government that you enact a law according to my religious belief because this provision is there?
In the Constitution.
This is individual freedom. You are free to practice whatever you believe in, and each individual. Quran clearly says, قُلْ كُلٌّ يَعْمَلُ عَلَى شَاكِلَتِهِ. Each individual is a unique person. وَجْعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. And for each one of you, we have prescribed a law and open way. We will have to make difference between religion and the state. As far as religion, religion gives you, scriptures give you commands. They don't give you law. What is command? Command is obedience to the unenforceable. No human agency is required to enforce the commands of God. Quran clearly says, La ikraha fid deen. There cannot be any compulsion in matters of religion. But on the other hand, as far as the government is concerned, even a democratic government cannot function without instruments of coercion. Even a democratic government cannot function. Religion does not allow coercion. Government cannot function. Laws cannot function without coercion. To enforce the law, you will need police. Religion says no. La ikraha fid din. It means religion, personal faith, and the state and the law, they are two different aspects. For the enforcement of the law, you necessarily need coercion, instruments which can use force. Secondly, personal laws are of civil nature. And the basic principle of a civil law is no action can be forbidden on the pain of punishment. For instance, Hindu law does not allow bigamy. But if a married Hindu develops a relationship with another woman, will the law on its own come into force? No, unless complaint is made. So what actually UCC, Uniform Civil Code, in the form of Hindu Code Bill, always remember, Hindu Code Bill is not based on Shastras. It's a modern piece of legislation. There is no concept of divorce in the Hindu law. There is no concept of inheritance by women. Hindu code bill has all these things, which means that it is not based on Shastras. Then why Hindu name was given? At that stage, only to assure the Muslims that it will not apply onto you. The name Hindu was given only to assure the Muslims. And why? Because Panditji was too sensitive. He said, if at this stage we do something like this, then Pakistan will go to the town, they will go all over the world and say that is why we were demanding partition. Because Muslim religion, culture, their way of life will be under threat. But to our surprise, 1962, Pakistan changed the Muslim person. Panditji was still alive. They done away, as far as law is concerned, they done away with triple divorce. They imposed restrictions on polygamy. How much that is being followed is a different question. Why? Because in 2017, the official body of the Pakistani ulamas, the chairman wrote a letter to Nawaz Sharif, referring to the law which our Supreme Court judgment and the law which was passed by Lok Sabha, making it a punishable offense if you pronounce 3 divorces. He referred to it, and he said that in 1962, we had outlawed triple divorce. We had outlawed polygamy. But the problem Pakistan is facing is that when this kind of incident happens, then the Maulvi says to the victim, this is the law of God and this is the law of Pakistan. If you follow the law of God, you will go to heaven. If you follow the law of Pakistan, then you will rot in hell. Therefore, in 2017, he demanded the chairman of the official council, Ulama Council, Muslim Scholars Council, whose official duty is to scrutinize laws passed by Pakistani parliament to ensure that they are not inconsistent with Muslim laws, or they are not inconsistent with the provisions of Quran and Hadith. Therefore, he demanded that mere outlawing of triple divorce or putting restrictions on polygamy, they are not going to work unless you add a provision so that these people can be punished. And he referred to India. Look, India is making this law.
Now, do you think when there has not even been a draft law that has been formulated yet on UCC, but still we have leaders like Owaisi saying that BJP government, the central government wants to implement the Hindu code of law and not UCC. Do you think that there is a lot of mistrust among the Muslim community when BJP speaks about UCC?
I was watching few clips on YouTube last night after I agreed to give interview to you. I do not think among the common Muslims there is much confusion. But the political vested interest who wear religion on their sleeves. Why? So that they can mobilize constituency in the name of religion. They want this distinctiveness, this exclusiveness or exclusive set of mind to continue. Otherwise, their constituency will come in danger. As far as the common Muslims are concerned, there is so much which can be cited. How happy Muslim women were when this triple divorce thing came to end. As father, as brother, as wife, are you ready to accept polygamy for your daughter? for your sister? And wife will never accept it to the extent. I will tell you what Quran says. There are two provisions. One is that under exceptional circumstances, conditional permission is given to marry more than one wife. And that happened that you will have to, there is no text without context. This happened after the Battle of Uhud, when 1/3 of the Muslim male population was wiped out. There were many women who were left widows, orphaned girls. At that time, these 2-3 verses in the Holy Quran came, where conditional permission was given. And condition was only if you can do justice among them. And few verses later, Quran is categorical, and it is beyond your capability to do justice among them. Then what does that mean? What does that mean? No, let me tell you another thing. This is conditional permission. But when it comes to clear-cut command, and I am not saying law, I don't want to use the word law, because for law you need human agency to enforce. Religion gives commands. Obedience to the unenforceable, no human agency to enforce it, but you voluntarily accept it. So what is the command of the Quran in the matter of marriage? Wankihul ayama minkum. Marry those who have not been married earlier. I specifically asked those who are against, those who were against the Supreme Court judgment in 1986. Sometimes you meet, you interact. I said this particular verse is addressed to men that don't marry a woman who has been married earlier, or who is in that relationship with somebody, she is married to someone, or this is a call to men and women both. And they reluctantly admitted that if you look at the grammatical composition of the ayat, the address, this particular ayat, is addressed to both men and women. And what the command says, Wankihul ayama minkum. Marry one who is not already married. This command exhorts the Muslim man not to marry a woman who is married to somebody else, and it exhorts women not to marry a man who is already married.
When we talk about polygamy, what many who criticize this say is that, see, it's not just within the Muslims that people marry multiple times. It happens within the Hindu religion, within certain tribes, with certain sects. So what do you have to say?
I think I've already given you a reply to that, that if a Hindu man has a relationship with another, married Hindu man, has a relationship with somebody else, will law come into force on its own? No. Actually, these matters cannot be regulated by law. Law is there not to create uniformity in the sense how you are going to solemnize your marriage. What are your customs? What are your rituals? Even Hindu code is applicable to Hindus, Buddhists, Jains and Sikhs. Has it been able to create uniformity? Not even among Hindus. Marriages are solemnized in Uttar Pradesh in a different manner, and in Kerala they are totally different. Even in Kerala, there is so much diversity, and we are used to diversity. We cherish diversity. That Brahmin marriages in Kerala take more time than non-Brahmin marriages. We are not bothered about that is not the concern of the law. The concern of the law is in whatever way you have solemnized your marriage. For instance, Muslim husband under the command of Quran is under obligation to pay dower, meher, to his wife. Do you think if Uniform Civil Code comes, it will it will prohibit Muslim men from paying this money to the wife? No, you pay as much as you like. The fact is that you do not pay. You know very well that the consummation of marriage without paying dower is not right. Therefore, what the Muslim husbands, most, not everybody, but most of them, what they say when they meet for the first time after solemnization of marriage, please forgive me for not being able to pay this. And that is why the money which should be paid before the consummation of marriage, this issue arises only if the relationship sours and matter goes to the court for divorce, then only this question of dower. According to the original spirit, this money should be paid before consummation of marriage. So my question is, has Hindu Code Bill, which is at least in respect of 4 communities, Hindu, Jain, Sikhs and Buddhist, it's a uniform civil code. Has it been able to create uniformity among them? The uniformity does not exist even among Hindus. I have many a times I have said this in UP particularly. I said if the Brahmins of UP come to know in what relationship marriage is permissible, degrees of kinship, all over the Western Ghat, then the UP Brahmin, because mother's brother has the first right over the sister's daughter. If UP Brahmin come to know about it, they will say, Narak jane ka seedha ras. This is the straight path to go to hell. Law, that is not the objective of the law, to create uniformity of customs, uniformity of solemnization of marriage. What propaganda these people are doing? If uniform civil code comes, Muslims will not be able to solemnize the marriage through nikah. Muslims will not be allowed to bury their dead. These are not the concerns of the law. What is the concern of the law? The concern of the law is uniformity of justice. We should not be in this situation in which we are today, where similar circumstances, similar case, they are placed in similar situation. But the court has to inquire whether you are a Hindu, or you are a Muslim, or you are a Christian, or you are a Sikh, or you are a Buddhist. No. Delivery of justice shall be uniform. In what manner you solemnize your marriage, what customs you follow, what rituals you do, this is not my concern. This is not the concern of the law. This is not concern of the state. Let us understand this. And then, instead of indulging in this malicious propaganda, we should try to build bridges, not to create walls among Indians. Let us have the feeling we are all Indians, and we are Indians, and our country, our culture cherishes diversity.
Governor, do you think that the central government should have had more discussions with all stakeholders, including the opposition parties, to have a broad consensus, rather than having temperatures high running right now, or giving way for fundamentalist forces to take advantage of this?
Well, I do not know where to start from. When the movement for the partition of country started, nobody was talking of uniform civil code. But the stand was taken. Our religion will be in danger. Our culture will be in danger. Our laws will be in danger. Our way of life will be in danger. Nobody was talking of uniform civil code at that time. In fact, the situation was the other way round. Rajiv ji, as Prime Minister, when he declared that they have reached an understanding with the Personal Law Board, and in the first week of the coming session, which was supposed to start on 6th February 1986, a bill will be introduced in the House to reverse the judgment ratio in the Shabano case. And when there was very strong adverse reaction, papers have reported, if you go back and look at the newspapers of those times, Rajiv ji invited, he made the Congress MPs in groups, 25 or 30 members, they were invited, and he had discussion with them. And what he said at that time? He said that the Muslim stand all along has been that the parliament does not have the power to legislate on Muslim laws. This is first time in India's history, because even in 37, it was a declaratory law. It is not a codified law. So he said, now for the first time they are asking us to codify the Muslim law. Even if you do not agree with this, Parliament's right to codify every law will be established. And tomorrow, once this right is established, then you can enact Uniform Civil Code. And in 1986, he said in his speech that I have talked to Muslim leaders and I have secured their consent for voluntary Uniform Civil Code. Why they had agreed if Uniform Civil Code is it's a different matter. That after the law was passed, voluntary Uniform Civil Code was forgotten. That's a different matter. But he is on record. I have secured consent of the Muslim leaders for a voluntary Uniform Civil Code, which in the course of time will become applicable to everybody.
But right now, do you think that the centre should have talks? I mean,
I think it is too late. My question is, why not earlier? Why we are wasting time? Because half of our population is involved. Their rights are adversely affected. And no country, no society, we are like bird, we cannot fly on one wing. And now women have proved in every sphere. Nowhere they are, the young girl, young Muslim girl from a village in Uttar Pradesh, not even from some elite family. Father is a tailor, village tailor. And she gets into Air Force as a fighter pilot. What pride, sense of pride you have. So government's duty is, government cannot change everything, but government duty is to create conducive conditions where every individual's potential, every individual has the opportunity to realize her or his full potential. These fetters need to be removed. Shackles need to be broken.
That too at the earliest is what you feel. That too at the earliest is what you feel.
As early as possible.
Now, another criticism is we are a country with a lot of different cultures and the way we live, and it's not really possible to have a one nation, one rule.
No, what I've tried to explain that only. We don't want to have one kind of solemnization of marriage. We don't want to have people follow the same customs, same rituals, same practices. No. The only thing as a modern nation, India which is growing, India which is aspiring to be world power, the only ambition which we should have is that we deliver uniform justice to all our people. It's a question of not uniformity of law. In personal matters, law hardly matters. Now, the Supreme Court has already given the judgment. A married man having relationship with somebody produces children. Court says whether marriage or no marriage, same rights will flow. So all these civil laws are increasingly becoming redundant. I do not attach much importance to them. What I attach importance to is nobody should be placed in a position. When I go to the court, then I am told that this provision will be applicable to a Hindu woman, but not to a Muslim woman. No, this I won't accept. I want I want same justice for the same issue, same kind of justice for every woman. How you solemnize him, you solemnize or do not solemnize. You are ritual. I'm not using the word legally married. These matters are not regulated by law. I'm saying whether your marriage has been performed, solemnized in accordance with certain laid down procedures, or you, because of your friendship, you have started living together. To me, these things are not important. What is important? Two persons placed in the same situation. If there is a dispute and they go to the court, then the justice should be uniform.
Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has said efforts should not be to bring in a UCC, but to amend and reform the discriminatory practices within the personal law.
I wish he had told this to EMS Nambudripad.
Now, the previous Law Commission has said it is not desirable at this stage. That is what their report has said. What do you think has changed right now for the new Law Commission?
If they said so, they really did not honor the spirit of the Constitution. The spirit of the Constitution is that we should have uniform civil code as early as possible, not to ensure uniformity of practices, but to ensure uniformity of justice.
Now, Muslim League here has already said that they're going to change it, challenge this politically and legally. Do you have any words for them?
Yeah, I don't have anything. The only thing is, I wish they had woken up before that. And why this I've already told you this law which was applicable in Kerala.
The
Marumakkattayam.
Yes.
So it means all our ancestors, for more than 1,000 years, they were living an irreligious life. And another question I would like to ask, if Muslim personal law is so integral to the practice of Islam, why Muslim people do not take a stand and issue a fatwa that no Muslim should live in countries where personal law is not enforced? Why everybody wants to run to USA? Why they are going to Europe? No personal law is there. So Islam can live, Muslims can live in USA without personal law, in Europe without personal law, in Pakistan without personal law. The process of reform of traditional Muslim personal law is started in late 20th century. And all the Arab countries, they have changed their laws. India is the only exception in the world where Muslims as Muslims cannot live if the personal law is not there. What a mockery.
And you think this is because of the vote bank politics?
They are taking advantage. I don't want to use this word, but they are taking advantage. You always remember, clergy prospers. Politicians, traditional type of politicians prosper where there is lack of awareness. Even if education is there, if there is lack of awareness, they take advantage of that. And famous Arab philosopher Ibn Rushd has said, if you want to rule over a people who are unaware, then present your desires in the form of religion, in the wrapping of religion, and you will be hugely successful. That's all I can say.
Governor, in another matter, our neighbouring state, Tamil Nadu, the governor there has written a letter to the chief minister dismissing one of the ministers who was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. How do you see this? And now they had to withdraw that also. Do you think governors have to be more cautious?
The Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu has the capability to answer all these questions, because I am not aware of the circumstances under which he took the action. But I know one thing in which I firmly believe. All those who are in public life, they are like Caesar's wife. And Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. And in this particular case, wife is not only under suspicion, but being prosecuted, under arrest. Are we going to uphold any standards in public life or not? For me, that is more important question. Technicality of the decision, he withdrew it, he put it on hold. I'm not going into that. That is for him to reply to. But I feel that public life, you must have certain standards. If you come under cloud, unless you clear yourself of that crowd, you must think whether you should continue. There should be no need for sacking. The person on his own must take the decision that first I will get my name cleared, and then I will hold a public position.
But do you think it is constitutionally and legally right? You've been an advocate also.
No. I personally feel that if the governor feels that somebody has violated the oath which he has taken, government has right, maybe his issuing that order and then putting it on hold, maybe he had it in his mind that he wanted to make public aware of what is going on. Maybe the real dismissal was not in his mind, but he wanted this matter to be discussed publicly.
Here, you also had run-ins with the government here. You also withdrew, you wrote a letter saying that you no longer have...
Chief Minister, that a person who tries to build walls between suppose Finance Minister had said that governor lacks the ability to understand the Kerala education system. I won't mind. Even today, if somebody says, because I am not custodian of all understanding and knowledge. He did not say that. He said how somebody from UP can understand the education system of Kerala. That, to my mind, was violation of his oath. A person who violates the oath, I have administered the oath of office and secrecy. If I tolerate it, then I will be accused in my own eyes of dereliction of my duty. Therefore, I wrote to the Chief Minister. But if the Chief Minister feels that no, he has not violated any oath, if the Chief Minister can depart so radically from the party, from the line which party had taken earlier, including the stalwart EMS Nambudiri path, therefore he can also come to the view that no, nothing has been violated. But remember, they took up the matter in the Central Committee, and the Central Committee said that keep quiet about it, we won't be able to defend it in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or in other places. Not a single statement came from the Central Committee of CPM. Why? if I had committed any impropriety, the central committee of the CPM would have jumped onto me. I know for sure they advise keep mum about it. Why?
But many political parties, what the allegation is that in opposition rule states, they're trying to use governors, BJP is trying to use governors to further their political agenda.
Now, which means that governors are not exercising their own mind, which I do not find very wholesome remark to be made. Everybody has his own mind, his own understanding. And let me remind you what Honorable Supreme Court has said. In the case of a governor of Tamil Nadu who had administered the oath of office to Jayalalitha ji at a time when judicial order had disqualified her from holding the post of MLA. The Honorable Supreme Court said, the will of the people as expressed through the majority party can prevail only if it is in accord with law and constitution. And governor is oath bound not to do anything which goes against the letter and spirit of the constitution.
In Trivandrum Medical College, 7 female students have written to the principal there. They said that they need long sleeve scrub jackets and surgical hoods inside the operation. Surgical hoods which cover your head inside the operation theatre, because according to their religious belief, they need to cover their head at all times, and it's not possible to wear a hijab inside the operation theatre. So requests like this coming, especially you're talking about inside an operation theatre. How?
Again, our higher judiciary has laid down a principle where they have said the yardstick to test this claim that our religion is, it must be examined whether this practice is integral to the teaching of the religion. 7 people, if 7 people are demanding, they have the freedom. They can wear in the market. They can wear anywhere. But if suppose the jet fighter says that I will fly the plane in wearing the veil, then if the good sense will prevail, if you are so strict, you have all personal freedom. But the personal freedom should not come in the way of discharge of your professional duties. So these matters, I think media should also be careful not to give publicity to these things. These are not very important things. The institution can handle these situations.
In 2024, will we see you back in electoral politics?
Honestly, left to me, no. Because I had taken a conscious decision in 2007. Not only conscious decision, but if I look back, I started my politics very early. Much before I became 25, I was secretary when I was 23 of the Students' Union, 24 when I was president, had just completed 25 when I became minister, so I started very early. Right from 2007 to 2019, when I came to Kerala, that is the time when I enjoyed most. I used to go out of my way to attract your attention, media people. And particularly after the publication of this book, which became bestseller in 11 weeks, became part of the syllabus in some US universities. And the invitations I was receiving from all over the country to speak on this, that is the time which I have enjoyed my most. So if I'm not using it euphemistically, honestly, left to me, I would rather be with my books and try to write something
But there is a
which
chance.
which can,
But there is a chance?
I do not know. I do not know. But left to me, I would like to be with my books in my study and continue my writing, resume rather my writing.
Because people in Kerala know you very well by now, so they would be, I mean, even from Kerala you can think about for 2024 elections.
You are too kind. You are too kind. Thank you very much.
Just one more question. So ahead of, I mean, at the national level for BJP, we're seeing, I mean, tall leaders. I'm not saying that they're not tall leaders belonging to the Muslim community. We're not finding that many tall leaders. So there is kind of a vacuum. Will you be ready to take up that?
Honestly, this is my very sincere opinion and advice to everybody. Instead of looking for people at the top, look down below. All the welfare schemes which have been initiated under the Prime Ministership of Shri Narendra Modi, all the surveys indicate that the highest number of proportion to their population, Muslims have been the highest beneficiary. Maybe because many of them are very poor. But one thing is proved, that not a single whether it is gas cylinders, whether it is homes for the homeless, whether it is land, not a single complaint anywhere in the country that I was left out because of my faith. I would like to see more than seeing few prominent individuals at the top. I would like to see how the common man is feeling. And if you remember, after the Assam election, I won't name anybody, but a very prominent Muslim leader, when he was asked, what happened to your constituency? Your numbers have been reduced to half. He said, what can I do about women? They feel gas cylinder is more important than other things.
Just one last question. How is your relation with the Kerala government now?
Excellent. No problem. I have already told you. You know, I am a student of, I do not know if I should use the word religion, because religion is a different. I'm a student of scriptures, I would say. And not that I've really been able to internalize, but I try my best. And many times I feel totally disappointed with my performance. And the lesson which I have learned is what I should keep in mind. While taking a viewpoint, while exercising my authority, my power, I should not be actuated by any feeling of ill will or affection. I have full right to feel affection for somebody. I have right even to have ill will for somebody, because I am a human being. If I feel hurt, I will have ill will. But I continuously, because this is not a one-time event, this is the growth, spiritual growth is a continuous process. And when I review my actions, many times I feel very angry with myself, because I do not find that I try my best, but still I do things which do not satisfy me. No action of mine should be actuated, should be made motivated either by my affection for somebody or my anger for somebody. We are all what you say, we are all pilgrims. We are trying to walk on that road. Not that I have totally internalized, no, but I consciously make effort. Therefore, there is no question, even if I dislike certain things, I shall not. I'm genuinely worried about Kerala higher education. Genuinely worried. Most bright students of Kerala, they leave after 10+2. I see no problem in it. It only shows that you are outgoing type, you have a broad vision. But when somebody leaves Kerala out of frustration, that bothers me. When I read letter of Professor C.N. Rao, that the research, original research in Kerala universities has come to a standstill. When the vice chancellors come and tell me that they have been writing to the government for years, they have departments with no faculty, that saddens me. Because Kerala is a wonderful state. The people are wonderful. And in fact, I would like to compliment them because they are so talented. The whole world is taking their advantage except the state of Kerala. They are so, anywhere in the world you go, you can't think of a good hospital without Keralites. You can't think of a good school without Keralites. And now even in the information sector, the modern sectors, the Kerala presence is very high. Kerala presence in institutions of national importance in the central universities is much more than their proportion of their population requires. It only shows how talented they are. But their talent is not used to make the situation better. Kerala has become a state where mostly non-working people live. All working people, they go outside. That makes me feel bad. I still feel, and I have been hitting my head against the wall, that Kerala has everything which can transform this state into a knowledge hub of not only India, of the world. But we won't allow investment. I have pleaded so much. Have strict control over the quality of education, but give them full freedom to run their institutions. Assure them that you will not interfere. I said, people are ready to invest huge money in Kerala. And I was very happy to listen to Chief Minister's speech at the party congress, where he tried to make people, he raised this subject, and the sentence which he used, I was very happy to hear that. Time is not going to wait for us. I hope they act on that. Then even the absence of the industry or big business will mean nothing. Education can provide more employment, more opportunities. World-class institutions, they are ready to come here because this is one state where same kind of clothes, 2 or 3 or 4 pairs, you can spend the whole year. Your studies are not affected by extreme heat or extreme cold, temperate, moderate weather.
So you think it's a political intervention that is
No,
creating
because no ideological, doctrinaire position. We won't allow investment by the private sector. So this is a situation where once you have lost that reputation, now if you want to regain the ground, you will need to take not normal measures, but extraordinary measures. Then only it can. I tried my best with the son-in-law of a dear friend of mine. He has huge investment in Chennai. He's into textile sector. I said, come and try in Kerala. Uncle, once you have the kind of reputation which Kerala, it is very difficult to overcome that. If you starting anew, then you can build your reputation. But once you have this reputation, that unions will not allow you to work. Even if the situation is changing, I will not come there till situation has changed. So we need to, if we want to rebuild that reputation, then we need to take some extraordinary measures.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Governor, for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.